Last year, the Vikings made a gutsy move by plunking $84 million fully guaranteed over 3 years into the coffers of Kirk Cousins. We're going to do a draft now with free agency just 8 days away. And as a practical matter, we'll know by next Monday where those pieces are going to start to fall together, if not sooner. Here are, and we're going to draft these, some gutsy moves that teams should make with the offseason here, whether it's free agency, whether it's trade, whether it's anything. The free agency window opens, the trade window opens, everything next Wednesday. So, Chris, that's what we're going to do today.
Cool.
And we have now accepted rock, scissors, paper as the way. The coin toss is dead. Rock, scissors, paper is now the way to determine the first pick.
I don't like that. I think rock, paper, scissors should only be an in-person thing. I think that's completely crazy that we're doing this. But okay, fine.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Here we go.
All right.
Rock,
paper, scissors,
shoot.
paper.
Oh. Yeah,
What
I
you
win.
got there? Yeah, I got to stop doing something more than scissors, especially because one of these times is only going to come out with one finger, and you know which one it would be.
You need to readjust your whole approach there. It's rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. That is universal. I don't know where you came from with this rock, scissors, paper. You're wrong. Okay.
You know what's funny
Take
though?
some
When you
coaching.
say when you say rock, paper, scissors, you say rocks. When you get all flustered about it, you say rocks, paper, scissors. It's rock, scissors, paper. That's what it is. That's what it's always been. And that's what. Do we have to do a poll on that now?
Yes.
Do we have to tack on to the proper temperature for cooking a steak poll, a codicil that gets into whether it's rock, scissors, paper, or rock, paper, scissors?
Yes, we do. Let's send that out.
Well, I'm going to then.
Please
all right,
do,
we'll
because
get that resolved.
You are egregiously wrong. I don't know anybody on planet Earth that does it your way. It's always been rock, paper,
you know
scissors. Rock, paper,
you know
scissors,
one.
shoot.
All right,
Okay,
here we go.
I won. Here we go. You ready?
Okay, go ahead.
Bold move number one. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers. Goody, as they call him up there, the GM for the Green Bay Packers. Trade away one of those first-round picks, Goody. I want a bold move, and I want you to trade one of those first-round picks to the New York Giants, and I want Odell Beckham Jr. with Aaron Rodgers, and I would be a Packers fan if that happened, because that would be amazing. My favorite quarterback, my favorite wide receiver on the same football team. I mean, come on. Does it get any more bold than that? Rodgers and Beckham together. I mean, that's just like fantasy dream come true. It's reality dream come true. But you're talking about, arguably the best receiver in the game with the quarterback who, yes, is dueling it out with Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the game, but certainly would be an unbelievable combination. And Aaron Rodgers has never had this type of weapon at his disposal. That's where I just think it would be fun. Rodgers dancing around the pocket, scrambling, throwing 40-yard lasers to Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, come on, you want to see that.
Well, I got 3 quick points here. First, it's going to take more than a first-round pick to get Odell Beckham Jr. away from the Giants. And it's going to, and the contract is favorable.
In the first round, but yes, go
ahead.
The
contract's favorable, but they could give up a first-round pick, but it's going to take more, maybe a 2, maybe 2 1s, who knows? Maybe they'll have to give up next year's first-round pick to make it happen. Secondly, the last time that Odell Beckham Jr. played at Lambeau Field, it didn't go so well. I guess as long as they keep him off of a boat, that should improve. And third, and this is the most important point.
Yeah.
I've gotten a text from my wife.
Right.
She says it's rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Your wife has brains. I mean, of course she knows it's rock, paper, scissors. I mean, your wife is awesome. She's only made one fatal flaw in her whole life.
Yeah,
and that was marrying you.
Yeah.
Other than that, she's been a perfect human being to society.
All right. So you win. I'm still going to put the poll question out there because I want to see how big of a landslide it is. All right. I have plenty of ideas here, and I've got a really good one I'm going to sandbag because I don't think you're going to think of it. I'm going to start with a very obvious one that isn't being discussed, but you and I have brought this up from time to time as it relates to how the Steelers have dealt with Le'Veon Bell. It was a concern last year if they had removed the franchise tender and put him on the open market during the season. We just saw the Ravens cut Alex Collins last week after he got into some trouble off the field. Hey, Ravens, go get Le'Veon Bell. Let's take this Steelers-Ravens rivalry to the highest possible level. You team Le'Veon Bell up with Lamar Jackson. Are you kidding me? What a combination that would be. Lamar Lamar Jackson throwing him some short passes out of the backfield, opening everything up down the field. Defenses wouldn't know what to do. Give me Lamar Jackson while he's got 3 years left on that low-level rookie contract. Spend the money on Le'Veon Bell, load up the cannon, and let's go for it.
Wow. I'm disappointed you did that, because that was going to be my next. You stole that from me last week when I said that Le'Veon Bell, the Ravens, that would be awesome. I think you got that from me, huh? I'm
incapable of thinking of anything on my own. All of my ideas come from you.
Pretty much.
Except for words.
That's pretty much what I thought. Okay, that's good. Well, I guess the big thing is there, the Ravens, can they fit him underneath their salary cap? But I do like that move. Obviously, because I just said I was going to pick it too. It would be very fun to watch. First of all, in the division, right? As far as the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the rivalry, that will just only intensify things. And, hey, come on. If you got Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, to add a weapon like Le'Veon Bell to where now teams really have to worry about Bell between the tackles, and oh no, Bell doesn't have it, there goes Lamar Jackson off the edge, and then Le'Veon Bell splitting a receiver, that certainly would be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm not disappointed with you there. I was actually going to go somewhere along the same lines, and I don't even care. I'm going to use the same player. I was going to say Le'Veon Bell, Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I want to see, a bold move done right there. In-state crime. It's Pennsylvania on Pennsylvania crime. He goes across the state to Philadelphia to join the most recent Super Bowl champs in that state, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Join him with Carson Wentz. We know there's some running back issues there with the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Darren Sproles up in age. Jay Ajayi not going to be there anymore. Again, Corey Clement banged up, not special. Le'Veon Bell, for a team that wants to run RPOs and do all of those things, wow, that would be a great I think combination between Carson Wentz, Le'Veon Bell, the Doug Peterson style offense. Le'Veon Bell has a certain style and swagger about him, a lot like LaShawn McCoy did in Philadelphia. I think he would be loved. I think that's a bold move I would love to see Howie Roseman make.
Yeah, and there has been at least one report linking the Eagles to Le'Veon Bell. Came out yesterday on The Athletic. The Jets, the Eagles, and one other team were mentioned as the primary candidates for Le'Veon Bell. I still think it's going to be the Jets. I've always thought it was going to be the Jets. I think the Jets for football and non-football reasons, because they want to compete with the Patriots in the division. They want to compete with the Giants in their own stadium. But if the Eagles want to do it, and I know I did a spot every Wednesday last year on WIP in Philadelphia, and until the trade deadline came and went, one of the topics every week was, is there any way the Eagles can trade for Le'Veon Bell? Well, next week they can have him with no trade compensation whatsoever if they're willing to pay him and if they can find a way to pull it off. All right. This next one is somewhat unrealistic, but it's near and dear to my heart. I think you know where I'm going.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
I look at it this way. And I know that Mike Zimmer believes that Kirk Cousins is going to step up and have a great second season with the NFL, with the Vikings, rather. Okay, fine, maybe he will. But they've seen what Nick Foles can do up close. They've been on the wrong side of what Nick Foles can do. And they have enough weapons on that team that I think a guy who has taken a team to the top of the mountain could go into Minnesota and really make an impact. Now, I would say that they should trade Kirk Cousins and sign Nick Foles. The problem is, you're not going to find anybody to take Kirk Cousins unless you do a Brock Osweiler hot potato deal where you give somebody a draft pick to take $58 million fully guaranteed over the next 2 years. But whether it's the Dolphins, whether it's the Jaguars, whether Washington won't be able to afford it, whether it's the Giants, maybe you could find a team that would just, and now the Vikings, they won't do it. They'd never do it. But this would be gutsy because it would involve admitting a mistake. Because they're never going to come out and say, hey, man, we really got it wrong. This guy stinks. They're never going to say that, even if they believe it. I think there may be some guys in that locker room that are wondering what they really have with Kirk Cousins. There would be no wondering what you have with Nick Foles. And I got into it yesterday on Twitter a little bit with Pete Prisco because he's not a big fan of the Jaguars signing Nick Foles. Look, I don't know why Nick Foles is so underrated. And that's good for him because he doesn't have to look anywhere for motivation. You know, Tom Brady's got to constantly scour for any little indignity that he can find. Nick Foles, no matter what he does, the people doubt him. And I think they're going to keep doubting him, and he's going to keep thriving. driving, and that would be a gutsy move. Unload Cousins and go get Nick Foles.
Yeah, okay, I get you there. I mean, I think that's a little crazy, certainly. I mean, you're being bitter towards one guy on your football team.
I'm being appreciative toward Nick Foles. That's what I'm being.
You've always been that. I get that. What was the pushback about people not liking the Nick Foles to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I just would like to hear that while we're in this segment. What was the... Yeah.
Pete Prisco, who works for CBS Sports, he made the argument that it's better to spend far less on Teddy Bridgewater than to spend the money that it will take to get Nick Foles. Although I don't know what Bridgewater can do. He had a chance to showcase himself.
Exactly right.
Week 17, and it was horrible.
Yeah, exactly. And nor was it that great when he was healthy before his leg injury. I think people need to remember that. You were a Vikings fan. Yeah, they went to the playoffs one of the years. It wasn't because of their offense and Teddy Bridgewater. It was because they didn't turn the ball over and they played great defense. And that's, go ahead, what?
Yeah, there were occasions when Teddy Bridgewater had to move the ball, and he could. I always thought Adrian Peterson hampered Teddy Bridgewater's development because there was so much of a reliance on hand the ball to Adrian, and they were really hoping in 2016, right before that injury happened, that Bridgewater would hit a higher level of performance, and there were indications that was going to happen. He was great in the preseason game that opened that new stadium against San Diego on a Sunday afternoon in August of 2016, not long before that horrible knee injury. But against Seattle in the playoffs in 2015, right before Blair Walsh missed the chip shot, he drove the Vikings down the field and got them in position. There was a Thursday night game against the Cardinals. He led them back. He was capable of doing some good things. He just didn't have to because the offense at that point was so focused on Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, okay, I get you. I mean, yep, you named two things he did there for 2 years. I get that. I just think that's like an incredible risk, to your point, especially for a guy who had to deal with a horrible leg injury and did not play good in Week 17, where teams are going to look at that film and go, whoa, like we can't bring this guy in here to be the starter. And we talked about yesterday with, I know we're getting off topic here a little bit, with Jacksonville. They're in win now mode. They need a guy that can go in there and run the ship the right way. And Nick Foles can do that, and we've seen him, execute in a lot of big moments. All right, I got one more pick.
Wait, hang on. No. We're having so much fun with this draft that we're out of time. We got to hold round 3, so you got more time to come up with your final pick. We're going to finish the draft when PFT Live continues right after this. We're only able to jam the first 2 rounds of today's draft. Bold move a team should make this offseason. Chris so far has the Packers getting OBJ via trade with the Giants. The Eagles signing Le'Veon Bell. I've got the Ravens going after Bell and the Vikings dumping Kirk Cousins and picking up Nick Foles. Chris, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I almost gave the Packers Le'Veon Bell, too. And now that I think back about it, I wish I would have done that and just made the Aaron Rodgers all-star team. That would have been fun. But I spread the wealth with the Eagles, and I would like to see it. And I know there's a real possibility. Okay, I'm going to do another one here that I think would just be a lot of fun, too. And, there's rumors out there that it could be a possibility. But I would love to see this rivalry have a little more gas thrown on the Flames. Stats. Love to see Earl Thomas to the San Francisco 49ers, okay? Him team up with Richard Sherman once again. And then, in the NFC West, you already have the 49ers-Seahawks rivalry. You already have Richard Sherman, who's a little pissed off at the way things ended with Seattle. Now you add Earl Thomas into that mix, who we know is not happy about Seattle not trying to find a way to extend them last year, let alone where things are at this year. So I think that would just make the NFC West, which is already getting to one of those must-watch divisions between the 3 young whippersnappers and Kingsbury, Shanahan, and McVay versus the old wise man and Pete Carroll. But this would certainly stoke the flames of that Niners-Seahawks rivalry. Very bold move and bold pick by thy Chris Sims to end the draft and win
That's
it right
not
there.
that bold. Everybody's already talking about that one. This needs to be bold, not obvious. I think Earl Thomas of the 49ers has gotten to the point where it is obvious now that the Cowboys have fallen out of the equation. So I throw your challenge flag on the notion that that's a bold move. Here's a bold move. This would be bold if it would happen.
Right.
And this is one of those where at first blush it makes sense, then you start thinking about it and it doesn't, but then you think about it more and it does. This is inspired by the discussion we had earlier in the hour about who is worth more in trade, Antonio Brown or Josh Rosen. Right. How about this?
Yeah.
Antonio Brown plus Mason Rudolph from the Steelers to the Cardinals for Josh Rosen plus Larry Fitzgerald. Bring him back to Pittsburgh, end his career there. I know he probably doesn't want to do it, but that's immaterial to me having fun. What would the Steelers really benefit from right now? Could you imagine Larry Fitzgerald walking into that locker room, appreciating Ben Roethlisberger, something he just said the other day? And also, you got Rosen, who you can develop behind Roethlisberger, and it's a reminder to Ben, hey, Ben, there will be a future without you at some point. So don't think you run the show now just because you won this showdown with Antonio Brown. If you didn't like Mason Rudolph coming in last year as a second-rounder, you sure ain't going to like Josh Rosen coming now. So it's a nice little shot across the bow at Ben. You're having the quarterback position maybe taken care of post-Roethlisberger. The Cardinals get AB, who will make that offense more exciting. You throw Kyler Murray on top of it with David Johnson. Oh, my gosh. And then you bring in that leadership from Larry Fitzgerald back to where he started his football career as a member of the Pitt Panthers. I love that move. It will never happen, but my God, wouldn't that be a great move for both teams? I win the draft.
That was a good creative thought. I'll give you that. That was fun for the draft, certainly. I mean, it's about time you added something to this show. So thanks for showing up finally in year 2 here. But that is a pretty good idea. Yes, far-fetched certainly, but not totally insane. You kind of made some sense in the trade area.
That's
there.
The thing. As I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
logic,
this is ridiculous. It's like, well, maybe it's not. You could make the argument for every guy moving from that team to the other team.
Yeah, no, it's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say.
No, that's a low bar.
I mean, I would like to see. I mean, that would be worth Rosen and Roethlisberger dealing with each other. I think that could be the price of some money to watch too. I don't know how those two would get along. That could be kind of fun.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.